Hey everybody, we're in Kentucky here, October. It's Oldsmobile time again. We're gonna do a few updates from the last video. First off though, I'm gonna go over here, check out something here. As you can see, since I've had this car, this rear tail light and all the metal with it's been missing. It was cut out when I got it. Didn't know where it was at, but anyway, I was on the Facebooks the other day, yesterday, and I was in the looking around in the 1960 Oldsmobile group, and a guy was at the Evil Shindig over in Evansville, Indiana, and he's in the group. He has a nice looking green 4-door sedan on Astros, but he posted a picture of what he bought at the swap meet, and it was a right rear tail light for a 1960 Oldsmobile with all the sheet metal around it, same color as this car. And so I messaged him like, hey, I think that came out of my parts car. And he's like, wow, that's crazy. So he went back and talked to the guy he bought it from. And apparently the guy he bought it from is the guy that I got this car from. So he had that taillight sitting somewhere and sold it. So a guy named Tony in southern Indiana, or somewhere in Indiana, has a taillight in the housing around it to this car. But I talked to him, and he's got a buddy that is wanting to put these taillights in some kind of Plymouth or Chrysler or some older 50s Dodge car, maybe DeSoto, and he was wanting to know if I would sell the other one out of this car. And you know what, I think I will, because this thing's never going to see the road. It is rough, and my tail lights are fine in the wagon, so I think I'm going to help a guy out, and I'll let him come cut this piece out, or I'll cut it out and ship it to him when I get the time. So you might see an older 50s Mopar with 60 Olds tail lights in it at some point. I just thought that was neat though, that I found the tail light to this car perusing through Facebook. But, oh, and also, if you know anybody that needs seats, if they're building a 59 or 60 GM sedan, these seats will bolt in either one. You know, Buick, Chevy, Olds, Pontiac, Olds, maybe Cadillac too, I don't know. But 59 and 60 sedan seats, front and rear. These are rough, but they're a good frame to use if you're going to be reupholstering seats to build one anyway. If nobody needs seat frames, I got them. I'd take $200 for the set. But we're going to head on inside. I know in my last short, you saw the wagon set right here. I brought it out and pressure washed it. But I have it inside now, and we are up on jack stands. I pulled all the wheels off of it, got it on jack stands. Started looking under it a little more. So we'll take a little tour here. I was test fitting one of the keystones on there. Every vehicle I've ever owned, I was like, hey, maybe I'll run them keystones on it. And I never do. I didn't run them on my 62 Buick wagon. I didn't run them on my 60 Olds. I pondered it on this one. I don't know. They don't really fit over the drums anyway. I think I'm just going to put them where they were originally intended. On this truck, I've got a picture somewhere from the 70s that my dad had with the keystones in this unibody. I just need adapters to run them on the large Ford pattern like he did, and we'll put them back in their rightful home sometime. But they don't really fit here anyway. The hub's too big, and it won't even let the wheel studs stick out. It might be sitting flush up there, I can't tell, but I wouldn't trust it, and I don't really want them anyway, so the keystones probably won't be on this car. But we'll set them to the side here. These are the original 14s that came on the car. I had two of them that were still in good shape with the original body paint color on them. They're 14s with the large Chevy pattern. You don't see many 14s with large Chevy bolt patterns, so I'd say about all it fits is a 60 Oldsmobile, maybe 59, I don't know. But if you need these Hyper Pacific wheels, I've got two of them. They're in good shape. The beads are still clean on them. They're not rusted out. Be good wheels if you want to build an original car and need 14s. But pressure washed out all the engine bay. You saw that in the short that I did. I'm gonna use this implement paint here, I think, and just shoot all the core support, all the cross member and frame, inner fenders. I'm not gonna spray the firewall. I'm gonna leave it alone. Just to clean it up a little bit and make the dirty, dusty engine stick out even more. Let's look on the inside here. Got my wheels off too. I pulled the 2 tires off, and I got to get 2 more tires off of these wheels. Got my changer back there in the back. You can see it. It's a rough one, but it works. But floors, I got a better look at these floors here. They are nice and toasty. That one ain't too bad. This one is plumb gone. I think I can cut the little section out of the parts car where the gas pedal mounts, because it's still in there somehow, surprisingly. But its floors are bad too. But the cross braces are still good. So I'm just gonna cut out all the rusty metal, and I've got new front floor pans, but they're even not enough to cover all that's rusted out in here, so I'm still gonna have to build some. I might have to scavenge some of the floor pieces and transmission tunnel sections from the parts car to get everything I need. The back floors are not great either, but surprisingly the ones in the parts car are really solid, especially that passenger side one. And this one ain't bad either in the parts car, so I may just cut those floor sections out of it and pop them in here, because really, I mean, I can worry about them later. I'll just need the front ones patched up to drive it. But let's see here. Okay, we'll get up under it here. You can see I've got the wheels off. There's the front drums. They've all got these big springs around them, front and rear. I can't remember if those for, I know they're for noise, vibration, or something. I forgot what the reason was for, but they're on there. They serve a purpose. Left-handed thread lug nuts on the driver's side. As you can see, I'm turning it left. It is tightening up, right loose. A lot of GM cars in the early 60s had left-handed threads on the driver's side. I don't know why. Kind of silly, but they're here. There they are. I've got the rear brake drums off, and I'll tell you what, compared to, well, here's the front brakes off the Buick. Big, huge aluminum drums on the front with steel hoops inside of them. But even the rear brakes on the Buick, the 60 model, were real heavy and finned, and I swear one of them, the rear drums, probably weighed as much or more than 2 of these rear drums on this car. They are lightweight, they're flimsy, but I'm going to take them to Napa and have them turned so they'll be ready to throw back on the car. Hopefully there's enough meat left on them to get them turned and they'll work out all right. I'm going to start on the rear brakes and work my way to the front as I work on it. Let's get under here. I used this creeper up. I got stuck under it the last time, but we're going to see what we can do. Okay, so here's the rear brakes. They look about the same on both sides. Cruddy. Looks like it has had an axle seal leaking at some point or another, but we're gonna pretend we didn't see that. But you know, still pretty clean metal there, surprisingly. Your typical drum brakes. Pads are about gone, which I've got new pads for it, so we're good. Spare tire well here is a little crusty, but the pan here above the gas tank is super solid. The little, I guess, storage pan. Gas tank doesn't look too bad from the bottom, so I'm hoping this undercoating on it saved it. And I'm gonna pull it when I get the chance, as long as the straps are in decent shape. And hopefully it has the sending unit that I can work with to get working again. You can see the fuel line coming off. All right. Well, let's get up in here. Here's my fuel line. It goes into a solid line in the frame there, it runs up, and then it comes outside the frame right here, and then it comes on around here, and it's got these little clamps holding it on, undercoating all on, under it everywhere, which the undercoating might have saved this frame, because this frame is super solid. Even the pinch mold on the rockers, solid. And the rockers are beat up, but they're solid. And then fuel line comes up and inside the frame here and goes back into a rubber line until it goes to the engine. So at least replacing the fuel line, it's got smashed here. I don't know if it slipped off a jack stand or the car did get hit and this was pushed in, so maybe it hit something into this right here. I don't know. But anyway, the fuel line will be easy to run on it because it kind of runs outside of the frame for the most part. So I just run me some steel line and then rubber on each end. Inner fenders are super clean on the inside. Of course, all the undercoat in there kind of chipped off. While I've got it up in the air, I'm gonna grease all the front suspension and steering components. Everything still feels tight enough, which I'm sure there's wear and tear in there, but to get it going, it's gonna be good. Eventually I'll do tie rods, ends and ball joints and all that good stuff. What else? I wanna break it apart and cut the coils down. I'm gonna cut at least one round off of the coil springs to drop it down a little bit. The shocks are easy enough to remove. They're, typical like this on the bottom where they bolt up to the bottom of the spring cup. And then on the top, it actually has like a shock tower right there that the shock bolts in instead of having the one stud coming up that always spins when you're trying to take it apart because the bolt's rusted or the nut's rusted. So that's good. But back to the rear end here. Also, let's look under here. Plenty of room for my engine and transmission here. I've just got to make a transmission cross member back in this area. I don't know where the motor mount's going to end up. I'm hoping I can get it to where they just sit on top of the engine cross member and bolt up there, but we'll see. But you can see more floor rot here, dirt dauber wash nest or something. But whole drive shaft tunnel's empty. I've got to get the drive shaft and the carrier bearing out of the parts car, and then I'll have to either shorten the front half or lengthen it, and I've got to get a yoke for the new engine over there to mate up to a drive shaft, because they're different splines as far as what was on the drive shaft and what I'm going to need. What else? Let's go back here. Exhaust is hanging, rusty. Flow Master. Let's see back here. So I was researching on my rear end to kind of see what kind of ratio it had in it, because apparently there's different rear end codes for these cars. I looked, I think there's like 10 of them. But as you can see, there's a little stamp right here, and that's your rear end code for these cars. I think it's like 64 and older Oldsmobiles. Code 8 is a 342 gear ratio, from what I understand. And my parts car has a 7, which is like a 287 gear ratio. So it's really high, but them cars had 14s from the factory. So they're really short wheels, so I guess it need to be kind of geared high. Plus, this was originally a 3-speed manual car, so maybe that's why it's geared a little lower. I don't know. So I don't know how 342s are gonna work out with a 350 turbo transmission. I don't know how that final ratio, I don't know how to figure all that math in my head, what the final drive would be. But if I need to gear it up higher, I guess I've got a 287 rear end in the parts car. I'd rather not, because this one looks to be in better shape than the parts car one. It's rusted out pretty bad, but we'll see. But this is a huge rear end. It looks like something out of a dump truck. It's I think they're like 9 3/4 ring gear. I'm just speculating there. I know they're bigger than a 9-inch, but I don't know exactly what they are. Big old rear end. I know these rear ends, I think they came in the Pontiacs as well. A lot of people used them in drag cars back in the 60s because they were so big and heavy. So 342, that's pretty good middle of the road ratio. I was looking, the higher ratios were like up in the 2s. The lowest one was like a 380 or 390 something. It had a 370 something, but 342 is good middle of the road gear ratio, so it should be okay for cruising. I'm gonna have 15s with a 225 75s on them, so the rear tire is going to be a little bit taller than factory. So if it's geared too low, that'll up my ratio a little bit, and hopefully it'll be having all right highway speed without making the engine's tongue hang out. Trying to think if there's anything else I can talk about here while I'm here under the car. I guess plans for now are to get all the brakes rebuilt while I have it up in the air, and get all that back together, run the steel brake lines while it's up in the air. I've got to get the rubber rear brake line for this. They didn't have it on Rock Auto, so I need to get it out and see kind of what the length is, and if I can find something that's similar or close enough to work out, which I'm sure it's, you know, generic something, you know, something's gonna fit it. Hopefully the brake lines aren't too big of a pain to run. I know I had a 62 Buick Wagon that had an X-frame under it, and running a steel line, and it was a nightmare because it ran inside of a boxed X-frame and you was trying to snake it through and get it to come out the other side. Whereas this is a hybrid X-frame and perimeter frame. So this is, none of it's boxed, it's all kind of C-channel. So there's plenty of openings to get in and work around to run brake lines and stuff. I think making a transmission cross member is gonna be pretty simple. The way the frame's set up in here, I can just make something that runs across the inside here or even the bottom and bolts in, and that'll be pretty simple. So I'm hyping myself up for something that's probably not a big deal. There's my speedo cable hanging out. I don't know if that'll even made up to the 350 turbo or not. We can try. It'd be nice if I could get a speedometer working it. I'm hoping this e-brake cable is not locked up, which from what I gather, most people say it's not the cable that gives you problems, it's the actual stuff inside the drums at the rear, and I've got it all apart and I'm gonna rebuild that. So hopefully I won't do like on my other vehicles where I just cut all the e-brake junk out whenever I rebuild the brakes. So yeah, I'm that guy. Let's see. We'll do another walk around. We got her over there, basking her beauty. I think I'm gonna call it Uncle Buck. I don't know why. I normally don't name cars, even though I think I called the Buick Big Booty Judy sometimes, the Black Betty. But I think this one looks like an Uncle Buck. I don't know. I can just see a big old John boat with a old Everroom boater sticking out the back with the tailgate down and some fishing poles. I'd like to find that before I go to some shows. I think that'd be pretty neat. I mean, I know everybody does the surf wagon thing with the roof rack and the surfboards, but I'm in Central Kentucky. Nobody surfs here. I mean, water skis, old wooden water skis would be more realistic if I could find some of them. I don't think I'm going to use the roof rack that I had for the Buick on this one. I never did love it that much. It don't fit right. It's more for like a later 60s car, the way the roof line works on it. So I'm not going to use the roof rack on this. So the rear end of these cars is what sold me on them. I love that bumper, the big tip sticking out. Of course, we're looking at the bad side here. I'm glad these windows are still intact. They'd be a pain to find. Still need to get the windshield out of my parts car. And I found a guy locally that can install it for me. I've just got to get everything out without breaking the good one. Yep. Looking good, looking good. This car has been on my bucket list for a long time. Like the 60 Buick I had, I love that car. I had 6 good years out of it. It was fun, but it was just a placeholder. 60 Olds or Buick Wagon was always the end game on my bucket list, along with the 59 Buick 4-door hardtop. But maybe one day we'll get to that too. But this is a dream car here. I remember seeing this car and the parts car together, because they've been together, I think, the whole time they've been around. They originally started in Louisville, Kentucky, and they bounced around, ended up in Indiana. But I remember seeing this car on on Craigslist like 10 years ago in Louisville, before Facebook Marketplace was even a thing. And of course, I had other stuff going on then. I couldn't afford them. Didn't know I was in over my head then. I was young, silly, dumb. But they finally made it to me, and hopefully I'll do it justice and get it on the road and have some fun with it. Last question here. I have the steel wheels here I'm going to use on the car with my white walls. Should I leave them this silver color? Because, you know, it's already got patina on it. Kind of matches the car. And they didn't look that bad on it. I don't know how they look with the skinny white wall. Or should I go ahead and clean them up and paint them white? Or would that stick out too much? Or even maybe like a cream color that kind of matches that seat. I don't know. Give me your opinions on what I should do for wheel color on this car. because I'm still up in the air. I don't know if I want to do black. I don't know. I don't think it'd look good. I might, if I can find another one of these here, these wheels, I might paint those black and put black wall tires on them just as a second set to run, you know, to kind of have the mean look every once in a while. I thought it'd make a neat nostalgia drag push car too, if I wanted to put the big piece of wood on the front bumper of it. And because they had the nostalgia drags down at Beach Bend Raceway in Bowling Green, NHRA reunion, where they call it, where they have all those nitro cars. I think it'd make a cool push car. But anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble 20-some minutes. It's one of the longest videos I think I've done in a while. So like the video, subscribe if you like it. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye.